What's up, guys? Today we are going to be talking about both of the Smile films, which is cool, and I actually think this is the first of the channel to actually just do like a review of two movies, you know? Like, obviously, I mentioned other movies during my review, but I feel like this is the first time, like, I don't know. But anyway, let's just jump right into it and talk about the Smile films. I'm going to start off talking about them separately and then I'm going to compare the two. Because I feel like, despite from the plot, these are two widely different movies because their tones just have nothing in common. So anyway, let's just jump right into Smile 1. Because, it's the first one. It would be weird if I started with number 2. I had kind of a weird experience watching the first Smile film, just because I'm pretty sure I was very, very sick. And for some reason, my parents actually wanted to watch it with me, which is weird because they don't normally like horror. So we sat down on the couch and watched it. And boy, is this an experience to watch when you're sick and when you're with your parents. I honestly think my parents thought it was good. I don't really remember their exact reactions just because the movie released so long ago. But I overall liked it. I think I would have liked it better if I wasn't sick, though. How dare you, nature? But I honestly thought it was okay. It was fine. It was a bit overhyped for me, if I was going to be honest. Like, I honestly thought it was just a cool, like, spooky time. I thought the story was a bit slow, but honestly, like, that's fine because this is coming from a short film, and I can't imagine how hard it must be to stretch a short film idea to a full feature film. But the actors greatly helped this film, and the concept itself is a bit unique, and it's just a fun watch, you know? I would say the story isn't the best, though. Like, it's good. Like I said earlier, though, it felt like that they were kind of stretching it out a bit. One thing that this film was just great at, though, were the jump scares. Jump scares usually don't get me. I'm usually, like, super tough when it comes to those. But this one got me a couple times. I'm normally not the biggest fan of jump scares, but I kind of like them in this. Except I think that they ruined the best jump scare in the trailer for the film, which sucks. I really liked how this film talked about trauma, and overall it's just a very strong film. The smile creature at the end of the film is also just horrifying. It's absolutely terrifying. A glimpse of it can send shivers down anyone's timbers, so yeah, it horrified me. And apparently most of it was practical, which is just really cool. I think the ending to Smile 1 is actually a really strong way to end a horror movie, you know? You can't stop trauma. There is no clear answer for stopping it. Oh, by the way, I forgot to add this, but I really thought the camera work was really well done in this film. Yes, I thought there was a bit too many upside down shots, like we get it, but for the most part, they looked pretty cool. I just thought the camera work was really well done, and I liked how the camera moved and all that. So really, the two main criticisms I end up having with the film is just the pacing, and second of all, the story. It was just a bit cliche, you know? I feel like I need to clarify me saying that the story was cliche. I think the story kind of evolves into just a bit cliche, you know? But I think the concept is really cool and really strong. Does that make any sense? Great concept, but the story they do with this smiling figure and trauma, bit lackluster, I'm going to be honest. So overall, I think I'm going to give this film a 7 out of 10. I think overall a good story, great acting, good camera work, and just it surprised so many people in this release. Like, I was kind of expecting it to be bad, not gonna lie. I thought it was going to have a lot of cheap jump scares. And the jump scares, they never really felt cheap, if that makes any sense. But anyway, let's talk about Smile 2. And I'm going to be honest, this one's my favorite out of the two. Remember previously when I was talking about the story being a bit cliche? Well, this one fixes that, because I felt like the story was actually more unique than the first one. Like, sure, the first one still exists, so I guess it wouldn't be more unique than the first one, but if Smile 2 was the first one, I prefer the story better, just because it's more gripping, you know? And yes, the story is a bit cliche in Smile 2, but it does its own thing with it, you know? Like, I'm okay with cliche stories if you can make it your own thing. And I felt like Smile 1 was like almost there, and Smile 2 is just passes Smile 1, you know, in a blink of an eye. And maybe that's why I was so harsh towards Smile 1, because Smile 2 exists. It's like, you can't rate the first Star Wars film a 10 out of 10 because The Empire Strikes Back exists. So I'm going to go into why I just think this film is absolutely fantastic. And I know the first one has some of these moments, but I feel like the second one just like made these moments better, if that makes any sense, or pushed them more to the forefront. So throughout like my review, if I say, oh, Smile 2 has great moments, blah 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 blah, and then I list like a death scene, Smile 1 still has great death scenes. I just think Smile 2 is better. To sum it all up, I think Smile 2 actively makes Smile 1 first because it's just so much better. Okay, so let's go into the positives of Smile 2. First of all, this film just has a great beat. Like, these songs were stuck in my head weeks after I left the theater. Second of all, I really liked how it portrayed how you don't really know if the singer's life is fine, you know? Because that's what Sky Riley does. She tries to portray everything as fine and ends up failing. But it kind of left me wondering, what if like all singers' lives are like that? Because we don't really know what's going on, if that makes any sense. Like, singers are performers. They just put up the personality of what like we want to see, basically, or what they think we want to see. And I think this film dives into that concept really well, because it shows the singer who has to depict, oh, everything is fine, I've got my life back on track. But she ends up failing. Whoa, I almost talked about the ending. We're not there yet. Let me talk about some other stuff, and then we can talk about the ending. I actually think the acting is better than the first. Naomi Scott is just such a good actress in this, and she's by far like the star. And hey, Ray Nicholson is in this, and he has a creepy smile just as his father. I meant that as a compliment, Ray Nicholson. Please don't come to try and murder me with an axe, okay? I also want to bring up a specific scene, the hallway scene. That choreography was amazing. And it's also just a super scary scene, so. Also, I praised it in the first film, and I'll praise it again in the second. The camera work. Chef's kiss. The camera in these films just move in such unique ways. Another thing I want to praise is the story. I wasn't super hyped for the second one, but boy, does the story deliver. And I just love how they chose to do kind of different tone, you know? The first film has a much slower pace, while the second is super fast paced. By the way, I do think the pacing is better in the second film. Okay, I've had you on the edge of your seats long enough, let me talk about the ending. I wasn't super thrilled with the ending, to be honest. Like, it's not a bad ending by many means. I just didn't love it, you know? Like, I really liked how at the end of the film it revealed a lot of things weren't real, and I feel like that's going to work greatly in the third film's favor. Because although the first one touched on it, I feel like the second one just fully dived right into what's real and what's fake. Like, I felt like I knew what was real and what was fake while watching the second Smile film until the end. That was a good twist. But I don't know, I felt like it could have been utilized more throughout, more than just a twist, you know? And I do think it's going to work in the third film's favor of, like, what's real and what's fake. Is what I'm saying making sense? I don't know, because just while watching the second film, I, felt like I knew, okay, yeah, that's fake, or, okay, yeah, that's real. And yes, the twist got me, I didn't know that much of it was fake. But I feel like it could have dived more into that, you know? And I feel like the third one for sure will dive more into that. Hopefully it does, because that would be super interesting. And I feel like we can go more from what number 1 and number 2 presented us. And it will be super fun as audience members, because for all we know, what we could be watching is entirely fake. But we need to talk about when the monster gets her in front of hundreds or thousands of fans. I don't know how many fans she had in that stadium. I need to have James A. Janice count them all for me. Like, I know they're not dead yet. We haven't seen the third film. I don't know if it's going to continue where the second film left off. But I still don't know how I feel about the monster getting her. like, it mainly just felt like a setup for a third film. And I do like the sentiment that, like, you know, the monster is unstoppable. But if every story ends with the monster winning, I feel like narratively that's just going to get really, really boring. That's why I'm kind of worried about a third film, because, like, hey, we get it, you know? I feel like the third one has the potential to be pretty good. But, you know, how are they going to make the ending any different? And I'm going to sound like Sabrina Carpenter really fast, and please, please, please don't make a fourth one. Like, obviously, I don't know what they have planned, but if they want to keep the monster, you know, winning all the time, that I feel like it might get boring by the third one. So don't make a fourth one. But anyway, I'll give the second film an 8 out of 10. Thank you so much for watching, guys. Thank you. Please make sure to like and subscribe, and please leave your opinions down below because I'd love to hear them. And yeah, thank you so much for watching, and bye. Goodbye.